Now what's this gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burn it G. All by this bread. Bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Now what's this gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burn it G. All by this bread. Now bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Now bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Now bitch, I'm first screen ballin', trying to get my bread long. You know the game gone and my mind been blown. Different decisions that I done made got me fucked up now. Still gon' thug the life I'm living, still gon' hold this shit down. Every day I'm a life, yeah, nigga chasing G's. And I'm saying niggas should be around there, won't see you off your feet. My mama been doing bad, but I ain't going into that. I done picked that girl up when I caught my first package. I be damn, me and my people hurting for something for a day. That shit happened, the next man ain't getting nothing. Faded the root of evil, and that's my damn best friend. I put that on my life, ain't nobody gon' fuck with him. You try to jam it, yeah, that ass getting chalk. Trying to serve, ain't got no business on my block, now bitch, you're getting chalk. Now either way you try to fuck with my balls, don't believe that ass getting chalk. Now what's this gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burn it G. All by this bread. Bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Now what's this gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burn it G. All by this bread. Now bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Now bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Now bitch, I'm back in the mix. Them flaky niggas better stand down. Came home, got me some yam, I'm the man now. Niggas, some bitches all from my face, I ain't know who it is. Everybody up from my mix like I'm a hero and shit. Fall back, I'll buy a brick. Right now I'm on a mission, I'm giving you 2 for 20. Got grams going for 50. Putting that in my pockets, the nigga you bullshitting. What the fuck you ain't listen? I done told you I got to get. Nobody depending on me, so it's all mine. I ain't stressing out by myself, that's how it going down. My mama fighting her little dicks and she gon' be alright. For I have a tweaking and begging, I put something up on the pipe. It's a low fraction of my life, still all in for a lick. Lurking for fatty, looking for niggas to tone mix. Start to lurking if I'm hurting, different side come out. That flip shit, Dr. Jacob, Mr. Hyde come out. Gonna be, you know how I played it all. That nigga burn it G.
Welcome back to your favorite channel. It's your boy K9s, Dog TV and News, giving it to my brothers and sisters the way I always do, fair and unbiased. Some gonna like it, some ain't. Man, y'all hit that subscribe button. Y'all hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet. Big salute, big shout out to everybody that's taking care of them dogs across this world, man. We got some dog talk today. I'm just gonna touch on a few of the breedings that I made and why I made the breedings the way I made the breedings, and you know, just just talking about the lines that I'm running. Like I said, big thanks and big shout out to the brothers and sisters down in the chat and everybody that's watching this video from afar. First, I'm gonna start off with Melo Yellow. Um, I got a bred to a little bait brother, which is Fletcher. Both of them are coming off uh, Hacksaw and Saber 2000. You know, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna break the pedigree down a little bit for my brothers and sisters that may not be quite familiar with some of these dogs. Um, Hacksaw's coming off Buddy. Buddy is a great producer as well as Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey is a great producer. Now, Saber 2000 is coming off Jocko and Yellow Girl. Now, I told y'all before that I had 2 dogs off of a breeding just like Jocko, bred just like Jocko. One of them was a light switch, and the other one was A phenomenal dog. Now, when you go back to the third generation of Melo Yellow's pedigree, you see Fletcher, which is not the Fletcher that I bred her to, is one of his descendants. You see Fletcher and you see Rattler, and both of them are great producers. Plus, you see Crazy Eyes Jr. in the third generation, you know. Um, Now, when I talk about these dogs being yellow dogs and not no kind of curves, and we're going straight back to the sources, this is what I mean when I speak about that. Now this is Melo Yellow's pedigree. We go to the fourth generation and we go to the bottom of the fourth generation. Going to the bottom of the fourth generation, and we're gonna look for the outs. In Melo Yellow, there's only one out. There's only one out, which is going to be coming down off the Mountain Man Cleo Cisco dog. And we're going to get to that when we get to them in the pedigree. But there's only going to be one out. Now we're going to start with the very bottom with Walkamal's Dixie. Now, when you look at Dixie, she's coming off Little John and Shakur. Little John is coming off of straight Chavis dogs, Red Boy Jocko. And when you look at Shakur, she's coming off Big John and CP. Now, CP, great breeding dog, phenomenal dog in her days. CP, what does CP stand for? That's why I always speak about Mr. Claude Puckett, and a lot of brothers don't know who I'm talking about when I talk about him. He was one of the great old school dog brothers that had the dogs along with Mr. Chavis, Mr. Burns, and the rest of them old schoolers, you know. And I always wonder where his dogs went at. It's no different than if Mr. Chavis got sick and he had to go to the nursing home and his wife sold the dogs. What happened to all the dogs? Where's Jocko? Where's Triple O? Where's all these other dogs Mr. Chavis bred? You know, that's what I'll be talking about. So we got CP and Big John is Shakur's mother. We don't see no outs in Dixie when we look for anything outside of Red Boy Jocko when we're looking at her pedigree. Now, let's go back to Country. Fourth generation, bottom of the fourth. Country. Country is off Split Ears and Miss Cyclone. Split Ears is off Little John and Blondie. Blondie is a little mate sister to Big John. So there's no outs in that. Then we have Split Ears bred to Miss Cyclone. Miss Cyclone is off Cyclone and Red Dallas too. Here's where it gets tricky at. Here's where it gets tricky at to some of my pedigree enthusiasts and my pedigree fanatics. Red Dallas 2 is off of Little John and Red Dallas. Now, when we click on Red Dallas's pedigree, she's off of Big John and Dallas Girl. When we look at Dallas Girl pedigree, she's off Termite and Carolina Kennels, Dallas. Dallas is off of George's Red Ace. So we Red Boy Jocko, but we got the Termite in it. Now, I wouldn't consider Termite an out because Termite is coming off Dangerous Dan, coming right off Jocko. So we can't really consider that an out. That's just a dog name that, he created his own line, but it's the same exact stuff. So that's not an out. So when we go back, now we at Walkamal Shakur, fourth generation still, the very bottom, third one up from the bottom, Shakur. Shakur's off Big John and CP, pure Red Boy Jocko. Now this is still Melo Yellow's pedigree that I'm reading, fourth generation. We got Batman. Batman is off Crazy Eyes and G.I. Jane. G.I. Jane is off Hitler and Miss Kitty. Crazy Eyes is off Big John and Miss Kitty. So in this breeding, we have two half brothers and sisters breeding, same mama, different fathers. When Crazy Eyes' father is Big John, G.I. Jane's father or grandfather is Big John. You see, so we got a half brother and sister breeding right here. And this is all Red Boy Jocko. No out in it yet. So now we come up to Tornado. This is one hell of a bitch right here in her days, you know. Uh this picture don't do this dog any justice. You know, she is a beautiful, when I tell you she was a beautiful dog, you know, and this picture verifies what I said exactly to the brothers that say these dogs weren't certain colors back in the days. This is a picture from the early 2000s, but this dog is from the 90s. You know, this is a light buckskin. That's why I say the picture don't do her any good. This dog is a light buckskin red nose, real light, not white color light, but real light blonde, red nose. Um, she's a big dog. She got a big head. She looks phenomenal. Her structure and everything, when you see her in person, it looks phenomenal. She was a great looking dog. Plus, she is a phenomenal producer, or was a phenomenal producer. You know, I had dogs off of her. Great producing dog. And this is Split Ears' little mate sister. You know, if you want to imagine how Split Ears look, just imagine her, but with more leg up under him. Her with more leg, and his head was a little bit bigger. You know, and I want to say, Split Ears' snout may be, his snout may have been an inch smaller than her snout, shorter, but for the most part, they look the same. He was just a little bit taller, in my opinion. You know, big dogs, man, great dogs. And like I said, we looking at Tornado, and she don't have an out in her. She don't have an out in her. So still to this point, we have yet to come across an out, and we're going up to Crazy Eyes now. Crazy Eyes of Big John and Miss Kitty. No outs. Miss Kitty is coming off Burns Tom Jack, who's coming off Burns Stumpy. You know, um, no outs in it. No outs in it yet. Now let's go up to Shakur. We already read hers. No outs. Little John. Little John, no outs. All Chavis dogs, you know. And that's what I say. This is the importance of what I say this Big John dogs is got over some of the Mayday stuff when it comes to the yellow dogs and when it comes to Jocko. Yellow is cool. Yellow is cool. But the Big John blend of Jocko that it brings to the table is unmatched. It's unmatched. You know, you can go in the way these termite dogs is bred nowadays, you can go in all them, and it's still not gonna give you the level of Jocko dogs that the Big John dog bring to the table. Now, when you look at Little John, he's coming off Ace and Sabre. Ace is coming off Triple Jocko and Chavis Tipsy. Triple Jocko is coming off Jocko 3 and Chavis Schiller. You know, and that's all back to Jocko. All these dogs in this pedigree is coming back to Jocko or Red Boy, you know. And the key to this pedigree, you got Super Nance Boots. Super Nance Boots, who is coming off Yellow John and Green's Miss Sandy. Hellified breeding. Green's Miss Sandy is a dog that I always tell brothers is underrated. That dog should be talked about a lot more than it does. Green Sandy, you know. But the key to this and this Jocko stuff that's in this Big John, not the key to it, but one of the dogs that makes this dog exceptional, makes these dogs exceptional, is the fact that it got Jocko in it got apples in it, and it got Argo in it. You know, we talking about 3 dogs from the same litter of Chavis Jocko. You got Chavis Jocko, you got Jocko little mate sister, and his little mate brother in this Big John stuff. That's why I try to say each dog matter. You know, we try to forget these dogs and only ride on the famous dogs and only ride on the well-known dogs. But it's every dog counts. And especially when you're doing line breeding and inbreeding, the way these Big John and Little John dogs were bred. Now, as we move up the pedigree list, fourth generation, my brother, still, we on triple bred. Welcome on triple bred pedigree, fourth generation. Triple bred is coming down off Big John and Little Babe. If you look at this pedigree, there's no outs in this pedigree at all. All red boy Jocko. Now we go up to Crazy Eyes. We already seen him already. Now let's go up to Walkama's little mama. Now we have an out. Now we have an out. If you go to Walkama's baby, which is little mama's mother, she's off Bud and Cocoa too. Now, let's focus on Cocoa too, because she's coming off Mountain Man's Cleo Cisco and Norris's Cocoa. So when we look at Walkama's baby, she's 50% Bud, 50% Cocoa. So Walkama's baby is a 50-50 dog. But you bred a 50-50 dog back to a 100% dog, which was Big John too. That made the puppies, which is Little Mama, 75% Big John, Little John, 25% the Cocoa dog. Now, when you take Little Mama, which is a 25% Cocoa, 75% Big John, you breed her back to 100% Big John, Little John, you get Rattler. Now, you only had 25% in when you bred, you only had 25% in when you bred Little Mama to split ears, which is 100. So that 25% went even lower in Rattler. If we going by percentages, it's all the way out in Rattler. But the dog, in reality, the Cocoa 2 dog and the Cocoa dog genes is still in Rattler. But then you take another pure dog and breed that to Rattler. And you get Ronda Rousey. You see, that's what we're talking about breeding out and going back in. Going back in to tighten up what you got and, just have that genetic gene pool in your program, of the out you did. Now that's Little Mama. Little Mama was the only out in Melo Yellow's whole pedigree. And we still looking at Melo Yellow, as you can see. This is still her pedigree. So now we go up to split ears. Great dog, like I said before, little mate brother to Tornado. No outs in him. When you look at the pedigree, go up to Missy Girl. We still in the fourth generation. Missy Girl. She's off Crazy Eyes and Missy. Missy is off Big John, bred back to his little mate sister. No outs in this. No outs in this at all. Now, we still in Melo Yellow's fourth generation. We go up and we see Country again. We already looked at him. We see Shakur again. We already looked at her. And we see Crazy Eyes again. We already looked at him. So when you're talking about Melo Yellow, that's why I say this dog goes back to the original dogs. No outs. All the way back. It's not different kennels with yellow dogs that added them up in there. It's one kennel that did the great breeding with their dogs. And like I said, they did a lot of the hard work, to where I don't gotta do as much of the hard work as they had to put into it. But that's just I'm showing brothers one of the breeders I made. Let me actuality. This is the breeding I made with Melo Yellow. This is the breeding I made with Melo Yellow. Her back to Fletcher. Straight red boy Jocko. Straight red boy Jocko. And this is another thing, This is another thing. Um, a lot of y'all brothers, a lot of maybe I can't really say sisters, but a lot of brothers, when they speak about dogs and they pedigrees, you know, some of these brothers they say they got yellow dogs, but they're not inbred or line bred yellow dogs. And then you see yellow back in the 10th and the 12th generation. You know, now let's see how far I got to go back to see Mr. Mayfield dogs and Mellow Yellow. Now we at Mellow Yellow 4th generation. I'm just gonna click on the oldest dog in our 4th generation, which will be I'm gonna go with Fletcher. Okay. Now we go to the 8th generation. Okay, we go to we see Mr. Mayfield on the dogs that I click. We see Mayfield dogs starting at the 11th generation. You see the Cables dogs starting at the 11th generation. And we talking about all the way back to the 70s now. So that's why I always say, man, them first 4 generations, they're important in that pedigree list. They are very important in that pedigree list. Now, I did make this breeding here as well. No, hold up. Get y'all the wrong pair. Made this breeding as well. Now, we got the Red Boy Jocko and the Bolio stuff, rather. I always say Buck and Bolio goes back to the same stuff. Buck goes back to Bolio. So however you want to say it is however you want to say it. If you want to say Bolio, you can say Bolio. Only way you can't say Buck if the dog don't have any Buck in it. See, you can have Bolio without having Buck, but you can't have Buck without having Bolio. You know. So this right here is a Red Boy Jocko Bolio cross. We got your Bolio coming through your Mayday. Then you got your dogs like Angel's Best Apache in the back, Ice Cream, Gaines Jr., you know. Now, this the breed I'm about to make in a few days. This is a Red Lady bred back to John Stone, you know. And what I'm gonna do with this, male or female puppies, I would take this and I'll go back to Melio or Fletcher with it. And Red Lady is the perfect out. And I can call Red Lady a out, even though it's not a out because Big John and Mayday is half brothers. I can call it an out because of the simple fact that matter that Big John family has not crossed into that Mayday family in over 40 some years. You know, Big John came out and he did his thing. Mayday came out and he did his thing, and the families didn't cross. Unless a particular breeder crossed them. But I'm talking about the sources. You know, it wasn't crossed from the source, so I would consider that an out. You know, but this is the breed that I'm making in the future. And like I said, I'm gonna take these and go back to Mellow Yellow or Fletcher offspring. Now, I could take these puppies and I can go back to uh the puppies off Melo Yellow and Fletcher. Or I could take these puppies, and go back to Fletcher with them. Or I could take these puppies and go back to Melo Yellow, But I take these, which is off John Stone and Red Lady. I go back to Fletcher and Melo Yellow puppies. So that's a brother and sister breeding coming back to this. I take this and I run it directly into Melo Yellow. It's just certain kind of ways I can go with it. It just depends on I'm gonna go best to the best. It just depends on how it fall. But I just wanted to show brothers, man, a few breedings that I was doing and help brothers understand what lines I'm running. And at the end of the day, these will be more my weight pull dogs, um, my strong dogs, my because the dogs have big bones. The mother throw off big bones, the father throw off big bones. So they have big bones, a good structure, um, good size head, good shape head and muzzle, because we all know we don't like underbites or overbites. So we got good structure on that and good health as well. Good health as well. Now, let me pull let's just pull JD pedigree up real quick. Look at old JD. People you say JD remind them of a Mayday stuff, but I always thought JD looked at like the Boomer stuff, which was in his background, the Sammy the Arab Boomer stuff, and maybe not on this picture right here exactly, but he looked more like he took after them dogs, in my opinion, than he took after the Mayday. He had like that Mayday shape, but at the same time, Boomer wasn't a bad shaped dog, and he was wide. And if you look at Boomer on different pictures, especially the one I seen in a magazine, he looked more like JD, or JD looked more like him. And that's why I always say, man, that stuff that come off that Red Boy stuff is strong. We may not know who Red Boy originally is off, but I tell you what, that stuff is strong, my brothers and sisters out there. You know. Now, let me pull this up. Yeah, man, I'm just trying to let you see what I'm running. Um, you know, for my brothers and sisters, one brother asked me about a dog, hit me up in the messenger, and no disrespect, fam. Um, but I'm gonna say something to you. I'm gonna spit some game to you real quick, and just let you know something. When you hit me up, you asked me about a puppy. You know, and what you asked me was about the red bone Jocko dogs. You know, that's what I wrote my book about, fam. Holla at me and get a copy of that book. Holla at me and get a copy of that book. Because it's certain things that brothers say that let me know whether you know you should have these dogs or not. And when you ask me about a red bone Jocko, it let me know you're not real familiar with the dogs. It don't let me know you're not a great pet owner. You may be the person I need to get my dogs to. But I say get the book so you can understand the lingo to the dogs. There's no such thing as a red bone Jocko. And when you ask me that, it kind of, it made me feel like, okay, you know, he wants something that he don't know what he want. You know what I'm saying? That's what you don't want. You never want something and you don't really know what it is. You know, so that's why I'm doing this video, man, to let brothers see, what dogs I got, what bloodlines I got, what kind of breedings I was doing. Um, and like I always say, man, we take these dogs and we do positive things with dogs. We're not into what brothers did in the 90s with dogs. We into doing dog shows, treadmill races, wall climbs, anything we can do positive with these dogs. Like we always say, if you can make a dog do anything outside of what he normally do when he's born, that's training. You know what I'm saying? That's training. So everybody, man, do what you got to do with these dogs. Take care of these animals. Y'all stay safe out there. Y'all stay legal out there. And remember where you got it from first, man. PBK9s, dog, talk, and news. Giving it to my brothers the way I always do. And we out.